Hi, all fans of video games, and especially for turn-based video games, and not just the fantasy type, but the sci-fi like games. Because today we can talk about Silence of the Syrian, the new sci-fi like Heroes 3, Heroes 4 like game, and of course with the developer team Oxymoron Games from Czech Republic, and I can really happily announce one of the developers here, Jan. Thank you for the participation. Hi.
Hello, hello. Yeah, thanks for having me. Maybe just as a super quick introduction. Hi, my name is Jan. I'm
Jan,
the
sorry.
lead programmer on the project and also one of the founding members of Oxymoron Games.
I see. And you have many Jan, John, something like that, so sometimes I almost sadly sorry for the mistakes because you had many beginning named developers if I saw well. Yeah, so sometimes I mistake the names because of that. So
yeah, Jan is in my generation. Well, it's John. So here
in
was
English
basically it was the most common name. So I'm kind of used to have like different nicknames and so on. So anything is fine.
And there was a János, almost like in Hungarian, in the past I heard. Maybe it's the same root, for the... Yeah, it is.
Well, you have a very unique language, so yeah. I'm not sure about Hungarian names.
Yeah. Oh, and if we talk about the names, just a quick surprising beginning that... do you know the developers of Kingdom Come? You know, the famous Czech game. It's almost like it looked like middle age Skyrim or Oblivion.
Yeah, they're working on the second game right now, aren't they? And yeah, I know a few like team members or ex-team members, and we tend to bump into each other on
and
like.
They worked with the Hungarian language because do you know that in the first game there were Kuns? It's another nation, of course,
like a tribe
who lived in Hungary also, but they used Hungarian for those bands and groups, and they were really harsh people, so the language was rude there. But yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, but it's just a interesting surprise. So, Oxymoron Games, can we talk about a little bit how you started and created your team or development? Because you had other games before, Silence of the Syrian. So can we talk about how you decided to start developing many type of games and why? How many people working generally in your team?
Yeah, sure. So our team is composed. It's currently 9 people. It's a bit of a mix of very experienced developers and some talented people and friends that joined along the way. But basically, the start of the company and the team, it goes back to like 2016, when some of us were still working abroad. And basically, with a small group, we decided that it's finally a good time to try something on our own. And also at that point, we chose the game to work on, which is a tycoon or a simulation strategy game where you build your hospital. And then 2 of us started, me and Roman, our lead designer, we started working on that in late 2016. And then after 2 more friends joined, we completed the game in 2018. And
so it's for like a 2 years process or something like that, yeah? 2.5 of development.
Yeah, it was just under 2 years in development, but then we continued for quite a bit. Maybe it was a bit of an ambitious project for such a small team, but the game turned out to be quite good, quite broken by the time we released it. But then we invested a lot of time to actually making the user experience better and fixing all the bugs and so on.
I heard that you have patching nowadays also, or updating not so long ago, so yeah, it's really great. And people liked it, so, and it's really unique, I think, because I played only different type of art genres, surgery or something down games, but not the whole hospital, so it's really great. It's management, it's doctor work or something like that together. So it's quite great.
Yeah, I guess that was a really good decision. As it's not just like a tycoon, like the business side of things, management, but you can also take over individual cases, individual patients, and then diagnose them and treat them. So for people who like different play styles, every kind of player who likes the medical environment can find something for them. And it's kind of surprising that at the beginning we were not sure if it was the best choice to go with realistic settings. If you remember, maybe Theme Hospital from the 90s. I guess first there was a lot of nostalgia for such a game, but on the other hand, I guess a lot of people thought that if you tackle something like medicine, you need to bring a lot of humor to make it accessible for a lot of players. But on the other hand, the choice to make something realistic, basically, after I think 6 years, there's still no other successful realistic hospital game, which is, I guess, really good for us.
Yes, it seems, and it was a quite great hit. Yeah, it was a success, we can say so. In general,
it did so much better than we expected, and we kept working on it and adding like more content in DLCs and so on until like mid 2020. And the game is still popular. It's still selling quite well, and kind of the most important part about all of this is it allowed us to start working on something else, and I guess even more ambitious, to grow the team. So we are very grateful to our first project for that.
And I saw that some of the fans wanted more DLCs even now in this year. So I don't know if you see that, but so there is a fan base, I think, what created in all the years. So
yeah, the community has been great. And they've helped quite a lot, for example, with translations, just like you yourself have on Sounds of the Siren. And this is also a really good time to mention we invested quite a bit into making the game moddable. So people can add like more graphical assets, equipment for the hospital, but also new diagnoses and even new departments. So even though we didn't make every single field of medicine as a DLC or as a department in the game, the community made 6 more departments, which kind of give, it might be something like 50% more content for the game.
Oh, wow. So it had a moddable method, or you can mod the game?
Yeah, basically, like all the textures in the game are just plain images that you can change or add new ones, and most of the data are in XML format, so it's just basically plain text. So I'm not saying it's easy. You probably need to study quite a bit how everything works, but to for example, add a new diagnosis to the game, it basically just means copy pasting one of the other ones, changing symptoms, adding description, and so on.
Maybe later, your game can help, in many situations. Maybe they can find a new cause or find a new method or medicine later because of that, because maybe some new, great doctors play with the game when they are a child, something like that, and after that, because of the game, they will maybe find or discover some new method for disease or something like that. So who knows?
It's great when you find out that you made something like extra valuable without really knowing that. So the way we got some messages like people actually like going to study medicine because of the game and so on. And
that's great.
Also, it's really humbling, isn't it? And also, this part is maybe not as surprising, but to learn how many people in our community are actually like real world doctors, nurses, other professions in the field of medicine.
That's good to hear, because I know that maybe they would say, it's just basic, or not even that. So, but they will not play it. But it's great that the controversy, they should play it generally. So it's really great. And and after that, what was the time and why and how you managed to deciding that you will do another type of genre, another type of game. Maybe you were a really great Heroes free player. You were fan of the Heroes series, and after that you had the idea that maybe you could do a similar game, but with a twist, with the sci-fi side of it.
Yeah, I guess a project like Silence of the Siren has been on the list for quite a while.
Oh, I see.
By the time we chose Hospital as the first game, it was kind of clear that with such a small team and like obviously, even though we worked on AAA games before and we had experience in different fields like your programmers, designers, whatnot, starting something on your own is always a huge learning experience. So I guess the choice of let's say Hospital is, for example, graphically much simpler when it comes to the amount of like animated characters. You basically have a few people. Your patients and your doctors, it's basically the same, one male model, one female model with a little animation skeleton or whatever. But for Sounds of the Siren, it's dozens and dozens of different units that need to be animated individually and so on. So that's just as a little example.
And many more type of animations and many else, yeah. So it's more graphically full.
So I'm very happy we kind of managed to learn all the bits we needed to learn on a project that was relatively more simple. Also like all the marketing stuff and so on, and what it means to actually launch a game on Steam and so on, because when you're just one person in a big team with 100 members, you get your very specialized role and that's what you do. So Project Hospital was an amazing learning experience when it comes to like the overall development cycle, and I don't know, like also running beta tests and stuff. But at some point, Hospital was basically finished, and we needed to decide what project would be next. And it was kind of surprising that we didn't know about this before, but both me and Roman, our lead designer, were thinking about some very like a sci-fi version of Heroes of Might and Magic for quite a while. And then when the whole team met up to discuss possible projects, like when two people come with the same idea, it's kind of clear that's what's going to be chosen. And also like other friends and other basically our team, we didn't hire anybody we didn't know at that point. So it was all old friends or people we worked with before in different companies, for example.
Oh, that's great.
And,
it must be they're a good mood, and a great workplace and everything else because of that, because you know each other really deeply well.
Yeah, and also you kind of lose the uncertainty to some extent whether a person is able to do the job. Like somebody might have a great CV and great portfolio, but then you realize that it's not that. So this was all good, and then basically in contrast with that, when we actually started working on the project, because for a short while we were working both on the DLCs for Project Hospital and like the initial pre-production design stage of Silence of the Siren, and then we got hit by COVID. So basically the initial stage of development, when it's kind of really important to be able to talk to each other and share ideas and discuss stuff. We were doing all that from home, and I remember there were some like really tiring, like eight people on one call on Discord and so on. So the very beginning, it was not all that easy, but we persevered, and as you can now if I jump forward all the way to this year, we released a game with much better ratings on Steam that we could hope for, and we continue
That's great.
as it's early access, working on more content and so on.
And it was a much harder task, about the marketing also. No, with the indie team, marketing is maybe even more harder because you have less funds and less money that can available for marketing, and also the costs maybe it's lower than for Ubisoft or other bigger companies and publishers, but with a little team it's much harder to navigate the game that will be created soon, that it's lives and it will be released, that just to know that for the fans of Heroes like games it's not quite easy. Yeah, of course you can use Facebook and some festivals or something like that, but it's not so easy.
Yeah, well, we did all of that. Like on one hand, again comparing our second and our first game, our marketing budget for Project Hospital was zero, or almost zero literally. So basically, like, we did what we could. Like followed all the kind of good rules. You should have a good press kit. You should send a nice and polite email to like all the press in the gaming industry, contact YouTubers and so on. And it actually worked really well for the amount of, well, we gave a lot of effort to marketing. We didn't because we were basically running on our savings. We didn't have any actual budget. So now comparing that to Silence of the Siren, we could afford a bit more, but at the same time, the difference between 2018 and 2024 is quite huge. And it's true that marketing games has obviously become much harder.
Yes.
So for example, we managed to gather more wishlist on Steam for Sons of the Siren than we did for Project Hospital, although it took longer, and we invested in quite a few like sponsored YouTube videos, as that seemed to be kind of the only reliable way to actually get some eyes on our project.
To know just
so
that the project is live, because many fans later asked me that, what is this game? I didn't hear about anything. They just popped up on some videos or some sites from YouTube or something else, and they didn't know about the word, about the, but they really like the concept, behind it. And after that, I said you can try it. It's even on early access now on Steam. But and they were really happy, but they didn't know about anything that. So it was quite strange.
Yeah. Last year, the 2023 season, we went to was it? I think 8 or 9 different events across Europe. Basically, it was like always, and it also cost a lot of time. Although sometimes these trips can be also a lot of fun. So it was usually like
expos or game shows or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like four members, like a small party, going to and it was one conference in Tallinn, Warsaw, I think, one in Spain. I went to Gamescom in Cologne, Germany, and to EGX in London. Now I'm not remembering all of them, but it was always like a proper presentation and showing the game to all basically the public and anybody from the press who would show up. But I guess these days for indies, it's not really recommended to go to these expos and conferences, as it's expensive, time consuming, and we can kind of confirm that the impact is not all that huge, but it
Because
can
of
help
the
a bit.
COVID, no? Because of the COVID, the people are more at home because they, order the food also more generally now at home to at home because maybe the streaming, also the internet, also the informatics, it's more easier now to handle, maybe even more for the older audience. So maybe
Yeah, I guess.
to the if I can say so, the people handle to be more lazy, it's not so good, I think, because sometimes you should go to like these gaming expos. I was on one not so long ago, and on a fantasy expo, so it was really great. But yeah, that's the case I see generally nowadays, sadly, that internet marketing may be the best, and also YouTube, etc., etc. So Facebook, and making videos, discussions, live streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, actually, new like a content creator / marketing guy just joined our team today, so hopefully that will help. Because like we try to keep our social networks active, but it also takes a lot of time. So having a dedicated person for that should help, and it all also, I guess, kind of explains why YouTube and Twitch kind of work the best these days when it comes to marketing.
And also Discord also, no? Yeah.
Discord is amazing for basically like keeping the community around. So that works well as well.
And they can help also, not just with the early access exactly, but through the forums, suggestions, teams, etc. on Discord, on Facebook, etc. It's quite great, yeah.
Yeah, and you also have the community on the Steam forums as well, but I guess on Discord it's kind of much more personal, and you'll get to know people better, and they can get more involved in the overall discussion. Like obviously one of the main reasons for going with game to early access is to get as much feedback as possible and gather some good ideas, or have the community see you that some of your ideas actually were not the best, and so you can adapt and properly balance the game and so on. So yeah, Discord has been a great tool.
Now you have some statistics about the game, no? After the EA release, because you know what is the most favorable or favorite faction of the gamers, maybe such like that.
Mostly from the feedback we've gathered, and I guess having like a what even are they? The Fossorians. It's basically a race of space moles.
Yes.
And they are kind of cute, but also very totalitarian. And I was actually very happy about how the story in the campaign turned out to be, with like all the twists and subtle jokes. And
it has really cute jokes and also some little twists. So yeah, it's quite great, I think. It's not the general type of boring type of campaign, if I can say so, I think. And it's really great with the story, it's folders into level 2, level 3, generally, not feel it rushed or something like that, so it's quite great. The levels going into each other, and you know why, so yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, thank you.
I think. Sorry?
Yeah, so what I wanted to mention, this is actually why going with a sci-fi world makes it maybe more creative, or opens like more different path, as you don't need to follow the usual tropes, like
it's open new possibilities, of course, if you can say so.
Yeah, so we can come up with almost anything, and then we can talk a bit about like you probably heard the term ludonarrative dissonance, which is basically about like how easy it is to make a story and then gameplay that doesn't fit at all.
Oh yeah.
So
There were
for us,
many experiences about that. Yeah, sadly.
I guess just the simple. You're playing a good guy, and now you're shooting hundreds of other people because they're from like some other faction and so on. So we tried to avoid that, and I guess it was not even all that hard, as when the design team works together. So you have like the visual design of a unit, if it matches like the moves that the unit has in a battle and so on, and
you know
then
they are really unique, not quite different from each other, and it's really great because there are many type of games from this genre. You know that the factions seem so more similar to each other. So and not just visually, but maybe gameplay wise, you know. And in this game, it's really great because it's in every part of this. I think they are more different from each other, so it's really great. We know only 3 from the 5, but I think maybe the two new one will be different also. I think so enough, and also you can do different tactics, you know, possibility strategies. Because of the factions, different type of unique buildings. So yeah, that is great. Maybe faction skills I talked about maybe before. Maybe even more we can do that. So yeah, I really like this. Right, like that.
I'm just a bit worried how hard it's going to become to balance. Like with 3 factions, it was okay. And we still keep working on that. Now with 5, with all the possible combinations, that will be a lot of work.
It's even harder. Now the fans would think that just do more faction. Now it's easy to balance. Maybe that's the hardest balance part now. After 3 factions.
Like producing like the animated unit, for example, should be a bit easier because it's not the first one, not even the 21st one you're working on, but the balance, that will of course be a challenge. But we did some tests already, well, even during the early stages of the game, because we can have the units in our developer version just with a picture with no animations, but they can already do their attacks. So we did some initial rounds of testing
to have like adjust some stats, some data for the or skills for the other units as well earlier. Visually it's easier, simpler, but yeah, you can manage to enhance and some ideas about the new possible skills or stats for the new units or new factions. Yeah, in this simpler visual form.
I'm just thinking, and like whatever you do, and then a player comes and finds a completely broken strategy that you have to like adapt everything to. But
I see.
That's what happens. So yeah.
Yeah, I heard now also for this game another kind of games from this genre that the fans easily can find some broken thing, you know, that you can broke any kind of balance or something like that. They find it easier and faster maybe than you. It's quite strange.
Yeah, I guess the best example, although I'm not going to talk about anything real specific, it's kind of like a whole class of cases where we call it something like optimizing the fun away. And it's about like you find some weird glitch or something that gives you a little advantage.
I see,
and now that you know it exists in the game, you're kind of always attracted to trying it over and over again, like trying to concentrate and not to forget about that. And basically then the whole gameplay becomes something else and not as fun as just going into the game casually. So mechanics like that is something we are like actively trying to discover and somehow change, so you don't end up just endlessly clicking something because it gives you a little bonus and so on.
I see. And how do you started to develop these 3 now new factions that I think quite unique to each other. The Moors, the Fosterians, the Children of the Source, and the Space Pirates, we can say so, Sovereign Fleet. What was behind them? There was some hint or influence from a movie or something like that, or a story from a novel or something like that. What was the first steps creating them?
I actually have to give you a name, Jiří Urbanec, our narrative designer, as basically this is his original universe. And I remember like quite a short draft of the story from him about like
he's
the
a
star
famous
system.
Czech writer or something like that, or
He might become one after this.
I
But,
see.
he's a huge sci-fi fan and like a dungeon master, if I'm not mistaken, in D&D and so on. So he had some experience like that, and he's read a lot of books. And basically, now we would have to talk about his influences, which I think we mentioned already in some interviews. I'm not sure if I'm gonna remember everything, but we, for example, go all the way to, let's say, Red Dwarf, as it's maybe on the more humorous side. So some of the funny bits in the game might be inspired by this famous British sitcom, stuff like that. But it's mostly Jiří on the narrative side, and then Martin Peter designing some of the mechanics of the units, and Ondřej Dufek, our lead artist or our art director, who came up with basically the basic concepts of all the units. And all this was when we talk about some sketches and early designs, we had a lot of this done quite early, but then of course with a small team to actually like get everything moving and so on, that took a lot of time.
That's of course. And how do you collect what hero, or in that case commander skills, can appear in the game? The balance is strong here also, not hard. Yeah, of course. Yeah, what kind of unit and hero or commander skills you would use and why? And maybe there will be even more later, or change many type of skills. It's hard to balance it now. Yeah.
Yeah, of course it's a bit of a challenge. I think you don't know about it, but that's what we are actually working on right now, as in this week, last week. Some rebalance, and we are plugging in new skills for the individual factions, which should make the commanders a bit more unique, as only commanders of the faction will get access to a special skill. But still, it should be quite
faction
balanced.
Unique skill, so only one faction.
So as an example, what we're testing right now is Fossorians, the mole people. Their commanders can learn Bloodlust, unless the name changes, and that gives your units some chance to move again if you like finish and completely kill off an enemy stack of units and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ideas what to still add, and basically what we aim for is not to have any skills that are boring or useless and people never choose them. So right now we're going through a balancing stage. And now when we know that, for example, people never like to choose skill A, so we'll make it a bit more powerful and so on. So hopefully the community doesn't mind that the balance will change a bit during early access, maybe
Of
more than
course.
once. But
That's
should be for the better.
That's what for early access, but and about the abilities that quite like spells here, how did you choose which one will be in the game and why? Maybe how to handle them? Because balancing here may be even more harder, because you have different type of levels of each ability skills and abilities. You can use them in lower and higher levels, so each one, so it's maybe quite harder to assist it for the different armies, different commanders.
Yeah, I guess here kind of the main design goals were to make something quite interesting, as something that people would actually look forward to learn with their commanders. And with the balance, that's going to be quite similar. There will be a lot of changes. As long as there are some numbers, as it's like how much damage something does and so on, these can be tweaked quite easily, and then it's also a matter of balancing.
And you can change it easily. That's not a hard thing, yeah, to change the elements.
Of course, although it's sometimes the harder part is to test everything, but we can, for example, let 2 AI players with different abilities or different factions and armies go against each other quite a lot of times, and then get some numbers out of that to see if this particular combination is balanced enough. But maybe let me take a little detour to the overall design of the, let's say, RPG elements, which means skills, abilities, and your commander's attributes when they level up. Basically, or unlike in Heroes of Might and Magic or the older Heroes games, we do not give players the choice of like a fighter class and a spellcaster class, but you have like a much more fine-grained way to customize the commanders. You still select random skills, but you get to choose which attribute to level up, and basically we're trying really hard to make all the different paths you can take useful for maybe for like different roles and so on. So if there's a commander that brings armies to somebody else, I guess for them having the best movement and so on will be much more useful, or they can focus almost solely on the movement on the map compared to, let's say, your main commander, who also fights a lot. Even for this role, it makes sense to have good movement, but then there it's a bit more of a balancing act, and then I guess what we are finding the hardest, but hopefully we are getting there, is to have the balance between purely combat-focused commander compared to a commander that focuses on casting abilities. So these two needs to both work, and that's something we are actually working on right now.
And I also like the fact that you can have items and artifacts more freely, if I can say so, because you can put them anywhere you want. You know, you have, there is not a case when you have many times you had many times in Heroes games that when you can find 5 type of boots but you can use only one. But here you can almost do that, of course not with boots, but with different type of items you can put it anywhere. Just you have to have some free place and you can get them, so it's quite good. And also you can have more free places of artifacts and items, and you can't do that in a Heroes game. And also the different type of items, you know, the consumables, the normal items, the artifacts, it's also again a good idea, I think. Maybe I should do one more artifact free place and one more item place, maybe with the highest, rank of skill. But yeah, I think it's really great. What was the idea behind it, or who decided about that?
I guess we basically just let our designers loose, and what's actually still missing in the game to some extent, and we'll be adding a few of these, are like the very simple items that just like increase your combat attribute or increase your movement attribute or something like that.
They didn't tell the exact number, how many damage, but you will of course balance it, I think. Yeah. Just said that the damage will be higher, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we can at some point show the numbers, but I'm not sure if it's actually all that important. Like now looking back, maybe just like two side notes. First, splitting the consumables and equipment. Like looking back, that was not a bad idea, especially because it makes your inventory like much more neat. I guess like criticizing Heroes of Might and Magic 3 with its age, it's not very fair. But if you remember the inventory, which was like just a single line of slots that you could scroll forever.
Yes.
That's not something you would want in a 2024 game.
And also in Heroes 3, there were it's of course because of it's an old game but not a bad game, that you had less type of good skills units, or for heroes as well, also less type of good spells. You have 40 or 30 spells, or maybe more, but generally the gamers, the audience used maybe half of it or even less. Of course, the same can be said with some units, because they didn't have a useful skill or none, and they didn't use that unit, or just trash, and also it was the case with some hero skills there. Anybody quite don't choose one or two hero skills because it's just useless and bad, but in your game it's really handled well. It seems you thought about it for so much time, every possibilities and every skill, because it seems more balanced and useful in many cases. You can use them in more possibilities, more tactical parts or battles than ever, because in Heroes 3 sometimes it was almost a barrier, on different type of skills, spells, etc., where you can use that. But in here, in this case, it's much more freedom for what can you use and how, and with that you can choose the attributes with every hero leveling up. It's also really great step to the more tactics and then more strategic parts, I think. But even you have the RPG elements also with the items, with the levelings, so it's really great.
Yeah, I guess it's one criticism that we get, but it was kind of a choice between one or the other, is that with this level of customization, it kind of makes all the commanders quite similar in a way. So basically the way they are distinguished, they have a different face, different name, and start with a different skill, but then you can always customize them. But
the specializations, some fans wanted specializations, for the heroes,
Yeah, but that's a conscious choice we made, and I think we're quite happy with. So
but I think
maybe
it's quite great
some other days.
Because there are so many possible things that can happen on the adventure map, and you have to choose different type of skills. For my experience, says that, but because it's really rare, I think, that you will have the same commander, I think, and of course you will use now the faction skills and abilities, so it will be more unique as well. So I don't think it's quite similar. I think Heroes 3 is more similar, I think, for that.
That actually makes me think if current internet tools and communities, if it was all just as widespread when Heroes 3 was released, if the designers then were able to get all that immediate feedback from the community,
of course,
how much different the game would be. And for example, like the estates skill that basically allows your hero to generate some gold each round, and now nobody chooses that. So if they would have changed that and so on, but I guess well.
Oh, you will have some economy skills also, no? If you are talking about
they were They were on the list, but are currently not planned. So what's currently in the game is
I really
stuff
like the
that was
economy
written.
system also because you have really careful. You be careful about how spending your, not just the money but the resources as well. So it's quite great. I think you must have to really great focus on your economy in this game. I think, and that's is good because on many type of games of these third-person games, in some games you can almost do everything because of the richness of the map generally, or because of how cheaper buildings and units there, so something like that. But here it's not the case, and that is good, I think. If we talking about
Yeah.
the strategy, economy have to be strong. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it also kind of fits with the universe, where it's basically like a remote star system, quite exploited. So uh, getting very rich shouldn't be an easy option. So yeah, I
Yes.
guess that makes sense.
There was a book called Space Millionaire or something like that, if I can translate it to English. And it is quite
Mhm.
great because it's about some great
Bezos and Musk.
yeah some famous billionaires who are now so rich, that he bought many type of planets and everything else. So he's a millionaire by space wise. So it's you can do anything in the space, of course, but it's so big that you can't even see the ending or the barrier of the whole universe, of course. But you can have so much of economy, or so much experience also behind that he can make a really big budget with just one man with a good idea, of course. But through that you must discover some new resources, of course, as you will do it in the game. And maybe with these resources you will be the richest, of course. So yeah, it's fundamentally, it's quite in the control. It's quite in the lore, sometimes. I really like that also, that in the story and the lore, in many things, logically, with the sci-fi part, I think. It's really logical how you do that. In many cases, in some particular, item or consumable, or with the resources, or with the factions. It's really think that it's the whole system is logical, made by logical thinking. So because sometimes
Okay.
just the developers throwing some ideas in the game development, and maybe there will be a chaos almost look like with factions, with items, with heroes. But I think you overthrow every part of the game with this sci-fi element, and with the own universe and lore of the silence system, Syrian system, sorry. So yeah.
Yeah, happy to hear that the game already feels like that, and yeah, there's a lot of like conscious design behind it. So often there are different ways how to achieve something, whether it's like an item, a building you can visit on the map, or your skill, and so on. So you don't get stuck. Also, for example, even though these don't give you much, you can produce almost everything, even with just a base, if you build the right upgrades. So if you can't reach a mine or some source of different resources around, and then you can always trade and so on. So
Yeah,
uh,
I
the-
quite like the trade also, because
yeah,
now you can trade with the 10 and 100 amounts and everything else. Sorry, so I think it's quite great.
the- yeah, there are obviously ways for you to play badly, but there should not be any way to get completely stuck, for example. Yep.
Mm. Yes. Units are sometimes quite expensive for some, so you have to be careful. Yeah, and not to kill them, of course, in battles. And I really quite like that. Similar to Heroes 4, you can upgrade many type of buildings on the adventure map also. Mines, towers, and you can prepare some guard there. So for the possible badly cases when an enemy would shot for around. So yeah, I think it's
should make it.
Also, you can build on the adventure some type of structures. That is new. That is a little bit look similar to civilizations or something like that. It's quite like.
Yeah, but there are, I might name a few, but these are just a few kind of small structures that can help you in different ways. Like you can, for example, build like a little mining probe that will boost your production a bit, but there's a bit of a risk-reward mechanic, so you need to keep it where it is. It keeps gathering the resource, and then
we can
at some
get
point,
it also, yeah.
then at some point you can cash it in, but somebody else might steal it in the meantime, and stuff like that. Or there are like little turrets and bunkers, like as defensive structures and so on. But these shouldn't be too powerful, so that they will break the overall game.
The outpost similar work in the way that as a small base or something like that, because I couldn't test it yet, sadly. But when you fight there in the outpost area, it is a little bit similar as a base fight or something like that.
No, you can just keep units there, and then a small area around that is protected.
I see,
so
you will have got walls or something like that there in a fight. In that case,
I don't think so. There's another mechanic that makes it more useful. Is you can send units there either from your base if you have like the gateway, one of the gateway buildings.
Oh yes.
So you can send units.
I really like the gateways because in many type of games they didn't use this. Maybe only Hero 6, I think, used the same town portal system.
Yeah, there were like some caravan mechanics in the different Heroes games where it would take a lot of time for the units to travel between places, and
in this
you kind of wouldn't.
New panel and battle game, you can use a caravan with your own hand. You can move them by yourself, but it is almost the same also. But this type, I think it's really great for the outposts as well. Also between the towns, it's good. It's faster, maybe the gameplay, but also it's more tactical, and you can use the units more widely on the map, if we can say so.
And makes it a bit less annoying.
Oh, of course.
You don't spend all that much time traveling, so. Yeah,
and I also really like the unique resource. We didn't talk about it yet. What was it?
The fusion core.
Fusion core, yeah, sorry. Fusion core. That's really great. You can use it for making space bridges, or in case so laser bridges, and for shortcuts. And what also you can use it for buying at once every building what you can. What you have the prerequisite buildings. So yeah, it's really great. But I really like also that it's hard to get and it's rare on the maps. It was your idea first, or somebody helped about this idea, something like that? Or?
I think I might have come up with that myself at some point. We still need to figure out a few more ways how to use it. The bridges, that's one example, and. For now, it also has, as you mentioned, kind of like a Joker card role. So if you're missing resources, you can use it, basically build anything, anywhere.
Or the averages also, if I remember right, on mines, etc.
Yeah, and the bridges, that's one of the examples of like the original design. It's a resource that you can use on the map at different places to like alter maybe it. But for example, one of the new bits of content that will make its way into the game in an update or two should be locked gates, but that's kind of a separate system, so you will have locked gates and keys for them that you can get somewhere by maybe fulfilling a quest or so.
Similar that in Heroes 3, 5, 6, 7, that there is a barrier or a tent and you have to get the correspondent color, the one, red, blue, etc. And you can.
It took us this long to actually put it in the game, but it has been planned for quite a while. Yep.
I see. It's great. And also, I really like
yeah.
that you have separate type of layers, for map layers. Now there is the orbit one, and later there will be an underground one. It's quite
Yeah,
great.
and actually, we made it. Should I call it generic or unlimited? So there will be these 3 types of layers, but basically you can put as many as you want on a map. So like a dungeon with a few different floors will be possible. So if the map designers figure some interesting things that it can build with that could be quite fun. And the orbit layer,
different level of the same type. That's quite great.
yeah, and the orbit layer, I guess that's something new, and obviously visually, like with Heroes, there were maps where your ground level and your dungeon level were basically the same. So for us, the space, like going up instead of down, and basically giving the art team some freedom to mess with like debris on orbit and so on. I guess it looks very nice, and kind of in a way it serves the same purpose as the dungeons did in Heroes, but we can have underground, or will be able to have underground as well. So there will be a lot of options for the map designers, because and this is kind of important thing to mention, because of course we will release the map editor to the players at some point when it's polished a bit and a bit easier to work with than it is now, and basically people will have the access to the same tools as we used to also script the whole campaign and so on. So
there will be campaign editors also, or?
Well, the map editor is the campaign editor. Basically, this is not even
2-in-1, or we can say so.
This is not even too technical, but basically the way the campaign levels are connected to each other, there are some properties in the editor for your map where you can fill, when you win this map, the next map is, campaign number 2, and you can select a few commanders that you carry over. So if you level them up to level 10, they will continue with their attributes and skills into the next level.
That's quite
But
great.
but the main system is like an scripting or event system, where basically if you look at a playthrough of any of the campaign levels, you can do basically like quite complicated flow through the levels with like maybe you can starting from the obvious, show dialogue and give rewards. You have a system of variables, so you can track like a progress through a quest that has 10 steps, stuff like that. There are conditions.
There are some side quests also, now possible.
Yeah, so I don't think it makes sense to go too much into detail. Actually, I'll be very happy to show some screenshots from the editor, but as we still have like placeholder icons, I can't really. But
for the final release, almost a year after now, it will release maybe.
Hopefully earlier. We'll need to publish like the more detailed roadmap for the rest of the development still. But the final release will be like the full game. Main content there will be, I think, the final campaign. And I don't remember exactly. I think
there will be 5
final
campaign. Five campaign, in the final.
For some reason, it's a bit more complicated. 5 playable factions for the full game and 4 campaigns.
I see.
As the last one that we haven't shown yet is kind of mysterious, and currently there's not a plan for their campaign. We might see in the future.
Or everybody is against them, and or something like that. We will see. That the story seems quite great then, so it's more complicated than you think.
Probably. Even myself playing through the mole campaign, I was surprised a few times
Yeah,
with the
me too.
twists. And so I basically jumped into testing the levels at some point before reading the whole script, which was a
Yeah.
good choice, I think, because I enjoyed that a bit more thanks to that. So yeah.
And of course, if the
Okay.
game will be a success, there will be more maps, more factions, more etc. DLC or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically like a combination of another faction, a short campaign, and some more content. That's a really good candidate for a possible future DLC. So
That's great.
let's see. Yeah, I guess on the technical side, like obviously, all the core systems work quite well already, and then
He didn't
have
have any
some-
crash. Maybe just once, maybe, but maybe that was the beta. I don't know. But so it was technically really great. Maybe even some more little FPS, needed numbers, because when you go up high, the FPS will be lower. Something like that.
yeah, there's. I guess that's always everywhere.
Of
You can
course.
always optimize a bit more, and yeah, FPS on the world map is actually it's surprising that it's currently more CPU limited
Yes,
than
yes, yes.
graphics card limited because of the rendering system we use in Unity, and
It's
think,
which Unity engine is used? 3, 4, 5. I don't know.
2020
2020.
is the version we use, and there's like an optimized way in the render that makes it more efficient when it draws a lot of similar objects in a scene, but somehow it seems that we've mostly hit its limits. So let's see how much we can improve it, and of course we can work a bit more on like the time the AI turns take and so on. But generally, compared to what I was expecting, it's already pretty good, and we should be on a good track.
Yes, it's quite great. And also AI is quite better with each update and each new phase, I think. And mainly for a EA release, it's quite great, I think. You updating the AI behavior, hardness, etc. difficulty in every update or something like that, yeah? Working all the way.
Yeah, yeah, difficulties that's gonna be a big topic going forward, maybe all the way to full release. So again, there will be a lot of balancing, and I think with the current easy, normal, hard, maybe we'll actually add like we might rename easy to normal and add an even easier difficulty to make it more accessible to. Or I guess during one of our discussions, somebody mentioned, and it kind of makes sense that people don't like playing on easy difficulty, or like even if it's their first time trying a new game.
Yeah, maybe no. I choose normal almost. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe like putting there one more
Very hard or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe going like the other way. So
and also easier. Yeah.
the current easy would become normal, something like that.
Oh,
but,
I see. I see.
yeah, we'll be gathering a lot of feedback on that, of course, as we go. And there are still some options. The difficulties currently impact, for example, like the starting resources of your AI enemies, but there are only some small changes in the way the AI behaves based on the difficulty. So there's still a lot of options what to tweak. So that's
we
work
can
that
set
will
different type of layers of difficulty, as we can do that with Heroes 7, if I remember, where we can choose different type, of layer of the difficulties, starting resources, starting strength of the creatures, the guards, starting of the enemy resources, and maybe the weekly growth thing, if I remember,
yeah. I'm not sure if it actually needs to be like fine-grained to that extent, but again,
or
as
the
we
aggressivity of the AI, maybe.
yeah, But as we talked about the open data in Project Hospital and the modability, most of it still applies to Silence of the Siren. So basically anybody can tweak any of the difficulties. If you just go like to the XML file that has the 3 different presets, then you can experiment and basically tweak it as much as you want.
I see. And you can have allied map if I so well, yeah? There are some team possibility, or will be later it will be even wider possibility? The team and ally mode, you know?
I feel like I should whisper, but I think that's coming in the next update.
Oh, I see.
So basically a proper support for teams, and I guess a nice combination. We've already tested the Steam remote play together, which is basically so basically over Steam you share your screen with another player, and basically it turns the local hot seat multiplayer into a proper online multiplayer with some limitations. So I don't think I have anything to announce about the actual proper online multiplayer support. That's something we'll be looking into later next year.
And also the simultaneous turns, you know?
That would be part of that in some way, shape,
and
or
also
form.
Random maps. These are the trio, you know, what the fans always want in this type of game. Random maps, sim turns, multiplayer, and map editor. Sorry, quartet.
Of course, on the content side, we'll be definitely focusing on the editor, because even when you have some working random map generator, proper, well-designed maps from the community will be always better.
Yes. Not just visually, sometimes gameplay-wise, or more balanced, because the random map has the possibility to have randomly generating lesser or worse parts, you know, maybe at even the starter region for one player and another. So yeah.
But we'd like to introduce a random map generator later anyway. But
in the DLC or something like DLC parts, yeah.
That would be an update. I don't think that's something you should pay for.
No,
but
not pay freely, but yeah.
But what I wanted to mention, or what makes sense, like one example that would benefit both and makes sense in the map editor, like very well defined brushes that allow you to draw like a forest or mountains surrounded by a forest to speed up the overall generation, the overall map creation process. This is something that can be then used in the random map generator as well, but if we perfect it for the editor, it's kind of the best for everybody.
Of course, yeah. And we didn't talk about it, that the sizes of the map, you know, that it can be small, normal, large, XHL, something like huge, something like what are the different type of sizes, you know, even the layers, maybe for the layers.
Yeah, basically you can, if you use all the layers, you can make an infinitely big map. I'm not sure if I would recommend that. And the sizes are not arbitrary, so you can the maps don't even have to be square and so on. And that's actually like a little feature we recently added to the like the screen where you select your scenarios. It like auto calculates the map size based not just by the dimensions, like the width and the height, but on the number of tiles that you can actually visit.
Oh, I see. The biomes.
So we have.
Oh, what? The different type of biomes.
The size of the area you can actually visit.
I
so
see.
if you have physically a very very large map, but all there is like a little island in the middle, then the game will still like correctly report that this is a small map.
Oh, I see.
And we just chose some like thresholds.
So it's a
for these
crowded
sizes.
map with everything, many things, you know, buildings, etc. You can visit bases, etc.,
Could be,
etc. Mines, it will be a bigger map in size, a longer map also. But if you have just a little, not so little, but just an island with not so many things, quite empty, it will be a smaller map. But maybe the size of the island is not so small, but you will not see a crowded one, you know, with every item and artifact and mine and base and buildings, you know, on it. Yeah, that's a quite good, interesting idea, I think, because sometimes in Heroes games, Heroes 5 mainly, Heroes 3, sometimes the map called small in size can take 4 or 5 hours or more because of the crowded method how it's made. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess that still applies, but basically, if the game says the map is small, that means that the area you can visit actually is not large.
I see.
And if I remember correctly, the largest maps we currently have are, I think, 100 by 100 tiles. For example, the last map in the Fosorian campaign, and currently that seems kind of to be around the limit of what actually makes sense.
Yes.
Performance-wise and so on, but
yeah, bigger
I think you can
need more performance and more better system. Yeah, requirements, of course. Yeah,
a little bit. It mostly depends on how much you can actually see in the camera when you zoom out. But generally speaking, about the sizes, the last campaign map, I think it can take like 10 hours to finish. So
wow.
I would say
that's
big enough.
there. I almost finished level 3. So yeah, level 3 is not so small also. Yeah.
Yeah. So level 4 is actually much bigger still. So maybe get ready for that.
And there was on a map in a scary map. There was a big, almost looked like a little planet-like thing. What was that? You know, it was on the different type of demo versions. Did that map? There was a big, just a visual or something like that.
A mysterious object.
Yeah, near the upper base, you know, there is a big planet-like, globe-like thing. You know, maybe it's a visual one. Just.
I think that's just a piece of scenery, but
but it's quite great.
Yeah, but there are plans for some like big unique structures, especially for the different campaigns. So
some visual variety, yeah, for the biomes, for the planets, and of course planets. So now you will have different planets, and on the planets you will have some amount of maps or levels. Yeah, it will be the case, and also it's logical again that different planets will have different amount of cycles. Yeah, this is the plan. Right. But it's logical as a sci-fi system, so if different planets have different daytimes, so
yeah, so you can imagine that maybe the next planet, and we might reshuffle the maps a bit, like during early access, as we add more content, the different planets in the skirmish mode are actually a very nice way to kind of group the different maps, and then setting different durations of the cycle, or well, basically day-night cycle on the maps, on the planets.
Yeah, it's a great new idea. Every Heroes game can borrow this also. I think.
Yeah, it can bring some variety, and you can, for example, imagine if you're playing a big map, then having new units each new cycle or every 4 phases, as it is currently. It can be maybe might feel that it's a bit too often. It requires a lot of management and so on.
And so many money and resources, to buy everything all the way,
Yeah, so the cycle is not 4 phases, but 6 on a big map. It might actually work better. So that's kind of the idea. Something new and different, but also to improve the gameplay in some situations.
I see.
Let's see if it works.
I think it's a good idea. And also, sometimes there are debates, which unit should be in a new faction or which not. I heard there was a hint that you may soon reveal the new fourth faction, the Empire, or I don't know what we will call it. The faction of
UNSS.
Faction of man. Sorry?
UNSS,
Yes,
and
yes.
if I remember correctly, it stands for United Nations of the Solar System.
Ah, see.
So it's basically humans and their crazy aliens.
And it will be really unique as well. I saw some pictures you posted on Facebook, and the units are really great. It seems I'm really waiting for the skills, and what they can do.
Yeah, so we've been slowly showing the new content, especially the new units, and it's again quite robotic faction with some actual humans there, and if you'd like to, you can check. We have posts on Steam for each of the factions that are already in game. And for the third one, the Pirates or the Sovereign Fleet, it actually uncovers a bit of the story, also about the humans and UNSS. Yes. So I a short read that I would definitely recommend.
As in Star Wars, the rebels against the Empire, a little bit,
Yeah, so some of these are such good tropes that you can't resist, really. But I hope. There's always a bit of a unique twist.
But they want
them,
it to be, independent. It feels really well. The pirates, so yeah. And
reading that and reading the descriptions of like what you can read about the different buildings at the pirate / Sovereign Fleet base, it almost makes them sound like good guys. Even though I'm pretty sure the original intention was like, everything is a bit gray and nobody is really good or bad.
It didn't want the black and white thing. That's great. It's filled well.
Yep.
And I also really like the faction unique buildings, and even that you can average the tavern or hero or commander building here, what you couldn't do in Heroes games. And with every faction, it's not similar. It's different. The effect, what is it add for the hero, plus morale or plus starting army, plus etc. plus item with the start. So it's quite a great idea. I think also with the averaging of other things as well. So maybe there will be even more buildings or more abilities, maybe, or something like that. With that's maybe more unique, for each factions. Maybe one faction can do only explorer abilities and tech abilities, or they didn't want to restricting, the possible resource management and ability management and hero commander management for each faction.
Because that's still an open question. We have the concept. Where should I start? The academy is. It has different names for different factions. Basically, that's the building that allows you to teach abilities to your. Basically. And okay, so as we are already making this comparison, unlike Mage Guild, you're not building more levels. But you can build faculties for the individual skills / the ability schools, let's say. So currently there are 3 different classes of abilities: your Globetrotter / exploration abilities, and then two skills for combat, tech abilities and bio abilities. Yes. And for each of them, you can build faculty at your base, at your academy at your base, that gives you a selection of more specialized abilities of these skills for your commanders to learn. This is getting a bit complicated.
And also other type of buildings, also the learning from far and other areas. It's quite a good idea, I think.
Yeah. So again, you have more control of what you build and what your commanders can learn.
What abilities per spells you wanted to use? Yeah. So you have more choosable and tactical side of it. Yeah, I think more control.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning the fourth skill with abilities, Psi abilities with like a lot of status effects and controlling other units and motivating your units.
That's the one. Tricky class, yeah.
That's the one that will arrive sometime in an update during early access. So there's more abilities coming, but not strictly limited to the factions. But we can make the academies for different factions different by maybe limiting the amount of different faculties you can build, or basically only allowing
or
you to build some of the
more amount of the one, more amount of abilities from one, And how do you manage to do the balance between the factions? What do you see? The opinions throughout the early access, or you testing inside also? How you can handle, because it may be the hardest part, that one faction can go too high, can be more overpowered than other,
Yeah, a little bit of all of that, of course. So listening to the community, because obviously a lot of players has much bigger testing power than what our team has, but we do a lot of testing on our side, of course, as well. And then like just running AI players against each other with different combinations of units. Also, we also use this for a different reason. We actually integrated a little bit of machine learning into the game, but not for like your enemy AI decisions, but mostly for quick access to good predictions of how different battles between different armies will end up. So it helps you as a player, as it immediately gives you an estimate of like in a tooltip. When you hover over enemy army, we show the hazard or like your potential losses. So this way it can be evaluated much quicker, and then it also helps the AI, like during your computer player's turn, it speeds up the estimations, because also the AI players need to check like how strong are different armies, other commanders, or neutral units around. So with this, basically you can get the results almost immediately, and while we can like run the proper battle as basically like an auto combat in the background, this actually helps quite a bit. And as a side effect, we have a lot of results from a lot of different battles with different combinations of units, so we can also check that, and that can help us balance the game too.
And there will be quick battle mode also, method, because I think it's not in the game yet, quick battle. Calculating, earlier the results, and you will get it, or you said, I want to fight it because I can make better results.
Yeah, we need to decide how to actually integrate it in the game. There's auto combat when you are already on the battle screen. You can just click the auto combat button to finish the battle quickly. Yes. And then when, as I mentioned, the tooltip for enemies will show you an estimation of the result of the battle. So you kind of know when you want to go into battle or not. And having like a dialogue or a screen with auto combat results before every single battle, it really changes the dynamic of the game. So I'm not sure if it really fits. I think Songs of Conquest have something like that.
I think.
Or any game that starts with this screen, and you only go fight when you're not happy with the results. It gives you. I'm not sure. Like technically, it's of course possible, but I think it would change the game too much.
And you will have less, a challenge and less of an experience, less of fight than you wanted to have in a strategy game, I think. But you just waiting for doing the challenges by the computer and not letting you, it's yeah.
On the other hand, like playing a lot of battles where you have no losses and they are all the same would be annoying. But that's why we have the auto combat button inside the battle. And
I see.
I guess maybe more welcome feature. We now have a restart battle button. So typically, like once in a while, you will misclick and your units will do something completely different than you wanted. So in that case, a quick restart battle
really
button.
like where you can see how many times the enemy can move, and also you can shrink your units into almost a miniature, and you can see the whole battle map more easier and look out it more better.
Yeah. I'm not sure. It might have started like a little tool for just testing or something, and then we made it quote unquote official, and I guess it's actually quite useful. So why not?
Of course. And why did you choose Unity for the game? Most every type of these games nowadays using Unity. If I say so, Thoughts and the New Heroes game, and this, and maybe even more. So. It's maybe easier to handle or develop these kind of strategy games. Or?
Yeah, I guess you kind of answered yourself. For us, there was one more reason, of course, as we already had experience with Unity from Project Hospital, and some team members worked with Unity before as well. For me on Hospital, it was the first time using that engine, so I was actually like properly watching tutorials and learning that, but. In a way, we don't use all that much from the engine as the core of the game. That's all our code written in C#, and then Unity basically just draws the graphics, particle systems, and UI. Excuse me. Although on
and also maybe the system requirements is not so big. Also with it, you can play it with older machines and games, PCs.
Okay, maybe like the proper answer is for this kind of game, Unity definitely fits much better than Unreal. Than the like the licensing side and so on.
Heroes 7 used Unreal 3, and first the developers were happy. What possibilities can do with it? Yeah, and after that, it was a bad decision. I knew one of the lead designers from the team, and he said after 3 or 5 years of the release that it was a bad decision. It was hard to handle, make good visuals for a strategy game. Maybe nowadays with 5, maybe it can be more better because it has more possibilities, but with 3 it was really restricted, to FPS games and TPS games. So.
Yeah, I guess with Unreal, it was always a really great engine if you want to do things the Unreal way.
Yeah.
And maybe for us, or for like any kind of game that also includes its own editor, which is basically the case for Sons of the Siren and for Project Hospital as well. So in Project Hospital, when you switch to building mode and just start placing down walls,
I see.
floors, furniture, and so on, that's a kind of an editor.
And you
as
did
well.
the
So
town
for
screens as well, also with Unity, the town screens.
these are done in
screens.
Blender and then they're then exported into Unity, and then for each building there's like a bit of script attached to it, so it gets hidden or shown based on whether it's actually present at the base and so on. And there are some Yeah, I guess actually the town screen and the UI there got some love, and
they really fit well
I'm
with
quite
the
happy
mood
with.
of the factions. It's quite work well. I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah, there are some little specialties like there's a custom script for like blinking windows at the Fossorian base,
There are some effects I really like those two. Yeah.
stuff like that.
And also the changing of night and day circle in the bases as well. So yeah, it's quite great. And also on the map, it's a new visual style. Never see this, I think, in this kind of games. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, now you're reminding me of all the little features that we actually managed to put in, and how much work that was.
So much, yeah. Also, and of course the music and sounds really work well together into visuals and the units as well. So congrats for the composers and sound mixer and designer and producers of the game.
Okay, I will let them know. But basically feels like working with old friends. As our sound designer, I actually worked with him at Remedy in Finland between like 2012 and 16. And our composer is Matu Shiroki, who composed music, for example, for Mafia 2.
Oh, really? I really like that also.
And it was such a nice surprise when it was actually him who got in touch with us about music for Project Hospital. And
so that's why we felt some jazz like in the malls, I think, because your Mafia used some jazz, blues, etc. So it was a good idea.
He's got kind of well, first he's very flexible, which is amazing, and he's got some unique style, and it's interesting what he sometimes mentions, that he doesn't want to compose only like cinematic music, but so sometimes mix in a bit of pop music, and I guess, for example, the Fossorian theme, that's quite something.
Yes, it's really great, I think. And there will be some themes for the biomes and turnips as well, because maybe there are just 2 or 3 types, I think, now for music for the terrains or biomes. And there will be more.
Yes. I'm trying to remember when I actually plugged that in. As it's definitely in the developer version of the game, and I'm not sure if it's in the latest patch on Steam. But if not, it will be in the next one. So there might be 1 or 2 more themes that will
or battle
already
themes, but there are some battle themes already. Yeah.
There will be also more like custom themes for the upcoming campaigns. So
campaigns.
And more depending on what we actually.
That's great.
Get into the game.
So the composer is still working with you, and also.
And also, I don't. Well, we haven't announced this yet, but I don't think it's a big secret. Soundtrack should be releasing soon on Steam.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm not sure how to introduce it, because it would be a bit of an early access soundtrack, meaning that as we put more music into the game, it should also the soundtrack should get updated.
I see. The same way as the game. So you get the EA part access one, and you will get the final one later also with that.
No, it's gonna be the same thing you can get on Steam, and the soundtrack will then get continuously or a few times updated with more music as we introduce new music into the game.
Oh, I see. I thought that way, but
So a little bonus, yep.
That's great. And the final question: that why did you choose Oxymoron for your name? What for the studio or the developer company? Oxymoron is a quite unique one for a developer name now.
It sounds good, and it was an internet domain that was not already taken. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I can quickly come up with any oxymorons describing our games, but
Yeah.
like as we're playing on nostalgia but trying to kind of modernize the different themes, that could be one, stuff like that. And
Maybe, yeah.
also
the
the
old and the
logo,
new and the fresh and the old, yeah. Maybe.
the company logo, I guess that it goes with the name really well.
Oh yeah, and the little mafia feeling, yeah.
Hmm.
Do you like mafia also? But the game, not the real. Yeah. It is.
That's a complicated question to answer because I worked on one of them, and
Oh really?
the memories are a bit ambivalent. So it was fun to an
Now
extent.
there will be a new mafia game as well. The fourth one, the prequel. It's
Okay,
made
but
by in Czech Republic as well, yeah, if I remember well.
Okay, I haven't heard many news from these teams recently, but the way it works, I think Hangar 13 is in California, and they are outsourcing some bits to Czech Republic. So I guess that's still going. Yep.
Yeah, nowadays companies quite like outsourcing. Partly the new heroes made by this way, so.
Yeah, but this is kind of an interesting situation, as Mafia 1 and 2 were Czech games
Yes.
made by Illusion Softworks, and then 2K when 2K bought Illusion Softworks. And then at some point the development and the team partially got relocated to the US. But I think you still have maybe some members of the original teams now working from the same place but outsourcing to the US. So,
Oh, I see.
but I guess if everybody's happy, then
Of course.
why not?
And the game will be great. It's great, yeah. But and do you will publish the game by yourself, or you have some help from a bigger company or something like that? Or
Talking about Sons of the Siren,
Yes.
we are fiercely independent, so
That's great.
it should be only us. Yep.
I like this more because the product can be more fresh, more unique, more can be what the developers want it to be. So I think it's better, mainly not always, but the general sadly the general experience that maybe bigger companies and publishers sometimes changing the game too much because of many different things, money, less time, etc. Yeah, so
Of course. Yeah, that's why we went independent in the first place, right? So it's a bit of a risk, but I guess knock on wood, so far so good.
Of course. And the really last question, so the release of the game can be in next autumn, yeah?
Might take a bit longer, but since the early access release, it will be a year plus or minus a bit. Depends on whether we can keep like our current development pace or need to focus on some different bits and so on.
Change the current status and the plans, yeah, for what you will have showing the new informations on the.
Okay, so we really should be showing the updated roadmap soon. Yeah, we like on a whiteboard at the office. We have it already split into different milestones, so we have a pretty clear picture, like the first big update, there will be some smaller updates soon, but the first big content update will be the UNSS faction and their campaign. Then at some point there will be a big editor update, other factions and so on. So I'm kind of looking forward to showing the details to the community.
Oh, I see. And you should have a order for playing the campaigns, story-wise or time-wise, or you can choose which factions you want to first start.
I think as a player, you should be able to choose whichever, and then when it comes to the timeline, I would have to check with our narrative designer, like in which order these should
sometimes
go.
These two types of campaign appear in these games, which story-wise have a recommended choosings, or just you can choose whatever you want. It's not connected so well into each other, but sometimes yes, and sometimes it should play in a concrete order, sometimes not.
Yeah, but I guess if that's the case, I guess all you need is to put them on the campaign screen in the right order, and I guess players would mostly follow that. So, and also whoever is joining us during the early access, I guess they'll naturally play the campaigns in the order they get released. So.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the informations and the great talking. We almost talk about every aspect and part of the game, I think.
Yeah.
And
it was wow. It was almost 2 hours. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. This has been fun. Yep.
And I hope that the game will be a really great success, and you will get so much more opinions, suggestions throughout the EA process and period. And I hope it maybe next year, maybe for Christmas or before that, for Halloween or something like that, we will get the game fully. And I wish that I hope that everything will go fine and well for you, for the whole team also, and for the development of the game process. And I hope that the fan base will be bigger and bigger as we going closer to the release,
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, thank you.
And
thank you very much.
we will have a surprise. So soon I will put video too about a little surprise winning game where you can win a Steam key of the game, what we talk about, Silence of the Siren. Thank you for getting one, and we can hope that many players will participate in this little play in the game, and there will be a winner, of course. I will announce later after maybe 1 week. So thank you letting us to can win a key for a fan. It's much appreciated. And I hope that everything will go in the case what you want, and no barrier, or problem will appear next year. So thank you again, and have a really great process of development. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.